Okay, let's take a closer look at the model tab in SprutCAM. So the main purpose of the model tab is to import the model and prepare it for the machining. So, but before we go to import, let's take a look at the model structure in SprutCAM. So here on the top left you can see the structure, which has folders, which has some objects, and here in the bottom you can see the content of the folder or of the object which is selected on the top. For example, if I select full model, I can see the content of this folder. As you can see, these folders I see here. For example, if I select part, I can see what is inside the part folder, this model. If I select the model, I can see the faces of this model. Okay, this is the objects in the model. Okay, besides the faces, if the model consists of also curves or points, they all will be seen here, visible here. Okay, next. If I want to edit or to delete, for example, some object, I need to select it here in the bottom. For example, if I want to delete this part, I cannot delete it from here. I need to select part folder, select part model here and press this button. Okay, next, if I want to, for example, change the color of the face, I just select it and push this button. Okay, like this. Here's the new color. Also, we have the properties window. For example, if I select full model and click on the properties, I can see the size and the dimensions and some other properties of the model. Okay, next. Next is object selection. So I can select the objects with my mouse click. But if something is not working, just check that select objects mode is enabled in this right mouse click menu. So if I want to select multiple objects, I can just make it like this, push and drag, and everything what is inside this rectangle is selected. Also, I can hold Control key and select multiple objects like this. As you can see, I'm selecting now not only faces but also edges and vertices. You can see it now like this. This is the edge, this is the vertex. Okay, why is it happening is because here on the right we have visible object selection filters. So now everything is enabled. I can turn off, for example, everything except the surfaces. Here's the surface filter. Now I can select only the surfaces. As you can see, I cannot select edges, I cannot select vertices anymore. I can turn off surfaces filter and turn on edges filter, and now I can select edges like you see it here. Okay, and also I can turn on the vertices filter and select the vertices along with the edges. Okay, by default it is useful to configure this filter like this. For the creating machining operations, you will need to select faces and edges 95% of the time. Okay, so also we can select and multiple objects holding Control key like this. And if we want to deselect some object, we can holding Control click one more time in the object we are going to deselect like this. All the other selected objects are still selected. Okay. Okay, what we have next? Yes, we have smart selection. For example, if we have the holes which all have the same diameter, you need just to double click this hole. Now we can see that the holes which are equal to the selected hole are also selected. The same is with the surfaces. For example, like this. All the surfaces at the same level are selected by double click. Okay, that's it about selection. Now let's go to the import dialog. So here we have import dialog. I just click this button, and here are some models which I have. For example, let's import this model. Here on the right bottom corner we have the formats list which we support. you can refer to user manual to get the additional information about importing different models of different CAD softwares. Okay, I select the model and click open. So now, as you can see, the model which I have imported is put into the part model because I had this folder active when I imported the model. But if I want, for example, to drag and drop my model from one folder to another, it's no problem. Of course, it's this easy. Okay, now it's about model import. So I will delete this model. I don't need it in this project. Push delete. Okay. So now, very important thing, which is vital to understand for SprutCAM using. So here's the visibility buttons on the right. So I will not tell you about all of them now. I will only tell about these two buttons. These buttons are very important and you need to understand what they are doing. So here on the left, we have visibility control with these checks. I can turn on, turn off the visibility of different objects here. So when we go to machining tab, we have some objects visible here. And with this button, I can turn on and turn off the visibility of the objects. For example, I can turn on all the model, or I can turn on only the part. Generally speaking, the model is not the part, because the part is the part of the model. And the model can also contain workpiece, and the model can also contain fixtures, and more and more and more. So, for example, if I'm going to machine this part, the most easy way is to select this as visible, everything visible, go to machining, and here I need to enable part visibility and geometry model visibility. So this is the right configuration for the majority of machining tasks in SprutCAM. So we will cover all these buttons a little bit later in details. Now you have to know that these two buttons must be enabled in the machining tab when you are going to create machining technology operations. So that's it about the model tab. Next, we will go to machining tab.